still? Is he making moonshine or what's he doing? I'm not sure. Well, hey guys, welcome back. Built a biodiesel processor, and I'm going to do my first batch with it. And I thought I'd bring you along and show you the steps I'll be taking to make the biodiesel. The plan is to make 100-liter batches, and that should fuel my truck for about a month. Check out my channel. I'll put some links in the corner there with my veg oil system I've been running. I've got about 24,000 miles on veg oil now, but I still start and stop on diesel, and I just want to get off the diesel kick and go to biodiesel. Being I have such a large supply of oil, I can use that to make the biodiesel. So this is my system. It's made from scraps, scrap pallets, scrap wood. These are all used. The hot water heater. So this is a 40-gallon hot water heater. The top element is deactivated, and the bottom element is now on 120 volts instead of 240. The only things I had to buy were the black pipe and the fittings, the taps and whatnot, and then the rest of the stuff I bought these off of Marketplace locally, secondhand. And this is an old 5-gallon jerry can I've rigged up to do the methoxide mix. So I've got about 25 liters in the unit now, and I'm just going to add another 25 liters for a total of 50 for my first batch. So some of the oil in there. So this is my wash and drying station. I'm going to use a dry wash method and see what kind of quality of biodiesel I get from it. If it's not up to my standards, I'll put a wash heads in here, a misting system for washing. Excuse me. So the way this works, I fill up this with my filtered vegetable oil, and then that gets drawn into the unit, and then turn the heat on. The heat's on now because I got 25 liters in it, just warming it up. And then once that's finished, then I warm the fluid up to 140 degrees with this gauge here. I can check on that. And then after it's up to 140, I introduce the methoxide. So this is methanol and potassium hydroxide mixed. And then that'll come down here and through here and then get mixed into the system. And I'll run the mixer for probably 2 to 3 hours. And that will sufficiently react the catalyst with the oil. So that's the overview of the system. All right, so the unwanted dregs out of the biodiesel get taken out of this lower tap, and that's the one on the far left. And then there's a 6-inch standpipe here, and that's for the good biodiesel. So there's always 25 liters of biodiesel just sitting there, settling and unused. So this is where I draw from, so the rest is usable. And then I draw from here through my diaphragm pump. So I'm using the same diaphragm pump for filling up my truck with the veg oil, and I'll use that pump to fill it with the biodiesel. We'll see how convenient that is. If it's a real pain in the butt, I will buy another pump. but I thought I'd incorporate that pump as I already have it. So that's how the system's going to work, and I'll take you through all the steps I'm going to use to make biodiesel and whatnot. For the air dryer, I'll be using my shop vac for now, and if it works well, I will incorporate another pump, a smaller pump that'll be mounted on here. But if I don't like the quality of my biodiesel, I'll change it up. All right, so what I'll do now is I'll add another 25 liters to this and then draw it into the pump. So let me get my air hooked up here, and I'll be back in a minute. So pardon the noise, everything's hooked up to the compressor. This used to be my old transfer pump, but I had issues in the winter when the oil was really cold, so I just repurposed it now to transfer oil around the pump or around the tank. The diaphragm pump, this thing is amazing. It works really nice. All right, so now we have our 25 liters, and we're just going to pump that 25 liters into the tank. So we'll turn the tank on, or the pump on, and then what we're going to do is open this valve, and you'll see the level drop. Temperature start to rise as the oil flows past the temp gauge. Okay. It's drawing from this drum now, also drawing from here. So we're going to kind of close this off a little bit so it'll draw faster from here. So I'm going to open this tap up fully again. And we're just about empty on this one here. Okay, so close that tap off now, and these two taps are on. Temperature's dropping a little bit as the new oil is introduced. That'll warm back up. I've set the thermostat to 140, so you need about 130 to 140 for the reaction to Or I'll shut the pump off. And we'll just let that oil heat up now. When the oil's heated up, we'll introduce the methoxide, and then the reaction will occur, and we'll make some biodiesel. So once the oil's warmed up, I'll bring it back and we'll introduce the methoxide. So like I said, methoxide is just methanol and potassium hydroxide. That's what I'm using. You can use sodium hydroxide as well, but I'm using potassium hydroxide, and I need to find some suppliers for this. This is a problem, finding suppliers for the methanol and the potassium hydroxide. So to get my cost down, I'm right now about half the price of diesel, but I can get it down further than that if I use bulk suppliers. So anyway, I'll bring it back when this oil's heated up. All right, guys, we got the oil heated up. The 50 liters is heated up to 140 degrees. So now we're going to mix up the methoxide and then introduce that to start the reaction. All right, so I've got the tank vented to the outside, and we're going to add the potassium hydroxide to the methanol. So we're just going to mix this up for 20 minutes or so. And I'll bring it back when it's mixed up. So I've mixed up the methoxide, so we'll open up this vent here and start the pump, and then we'll open that valve. So open this valve and then finally that valve. So shut the heater off, and we're rated about 140. Vent it to the outside, and then we'll start the introduction of the methoxide. Like I said, this is my first big batch, 50 liters. I've only done small samples at home, about 11 liters or so, 10 to 15 liters, something like that. Alright, it's coming to the end. The pump's been running 2 hours, and I pulled a sample off, just 10 minutes ago, and you can see the glycerin at the bottom and the biodiesel at the top. So it looks like I got a nice reaction. So I'm going to shut the pump off now. And I'll come back tomorrow and drain the glycerol off. So it looks like I got a good reaction, guys. So what I'm going to do now is leave it overnight, come back in the morning, and then pour the glycerin off, and then transfer it over to my drying tank. And then do a 2-hour dry cycle, and then test the quality. But really happy with that. That turned out really nice. You can see a definite clear dividing line with the glycerin. So I'll take this sample home and do a couple of tests on it and see how well it turned out. All right, it's the next morning, and I've let the glycerin settle overnight. So we'll drain it off now and see what we get, and then transfer the biodiesel into the wash tank. So this is the dark glycerin coming off now, and we'll wait for it to lighten up with the biodiesel and then transfer it. And you can see here I'm at about 60 liters. So we still have some more to come off. All right, we're just starting to come up to some biodiesel. All right, that's it. So take a little bit more. Yeah. And now we're into the biodiesel. Yeah, okay. So anything that's in this jug, I'll let this settle, and there's a slight amount of biodiesel on the top, and then I'll pour that off after the glycerin settles out, and then reintroduce it to the next batch. So what we're going to do now is we're going to transfer the 50 liters of biodiesel into my wash tank. And I'm just going to clean this wash tank out a little bit because I contaminated it with veg oil and other bits and pieces. So I'll quickly wash that out, and then we'll transfer some oil. Or should I say biodiesel. So we'll open this valve here, and that's the valve to the wash tank. I'm going to shut that valve off, and we're going to turn the pump on. This valve is open, and the rest of the valves are closed. And fill up the wash barrel. There goes the biodiesel. Nice. So now we'll dry wash it. We'll see how well that dry washing works. And if I'm not happy with it, I'll use a water wash. So what we're going to do now is going to use my vacuum cleaner to dry the biodiesel, get rid of all the methanol, and after the methanol evaporates out, any soap or KOH should fall out, and I can take it off of here. So we'll give it a go and see what I can. This is just to keep all the oil mist. You can see a bit of oil coming out of here, just to keep it out of the shop. So I'm going to run this for 2 hours and then take a sample when I'm done. Small adjustment already. I put a T in here with a air outlet because there's just far too much volume of air going into that biodiesel, and it's venting off a lot of vapors. So this fixes it now. Just There's way too many fumes. So I think if I could get a flexible dryer hose, I'll rig it up so that I can close the door, because it's still pretty cold out, and the shop gets really cold. So I think this is my solution. First of all, I have to see how well this even works. I've just heard about it, but I've never tried it, so I don't know. But I think this is the solution. If you could picture a flexible dryer hose out the bottom, and all the fumes go outside, so there's no chance of vapors getting in my shop. Is he making moonshine, or what's he doing? I'm not sure, guys. I think that's the answer. Get all the vapors out of the shop. Even if I have to cut a hole in the lid and kind of make it airtight, so all the vapors come out of this, out of here. I have to tell my neighbors to stop smoking. No more smoking. Yeah, another problem with this whole thing is you got to have the door open to vent it, and it gets pretty cold in here. That tank is 38 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's too cold for the biodiesel. So anyway, we'll have a look inside. So we'll have a look inside and see. Just a bit of soap on the top, and we'll see what happens with that in the morning. Cloudy. We'll see what happens with this. This is off the bottom. I'll pull some off the standpipe now. See, if we let this settle for a few hours, I reckon that would clean right up. So, not bad actually. Just a bit of air bubbles in it, but that'll settle out overnight. Wow, yeah, not bad. Well, it's the next day, guys. We've let the biodiesel settle overnight. So this is a sample I took the first day, and I washed it at home. I separated off the glycerin and then washed it twice, and that's what we've got. Really nice, clean biodiesel. So this is the valve that'll be going through my filters into the truck. So pretty nice stuff. All the methanol is evaporated out. little bit of that floaty stuff on the top. I think that's the residual veg oil I had at the bottom that I didn't quite clean out. But you could see right down to the bottom of the tank. So I'm happy with that. And I'm going to fill the truck up with 25 liters of biodiesel. That's all I have, and then I'm down to the pickup tube. So I'm just filtering through a 25 and a 2 micron filter. Pretty nice. Let me know in the comments below, other than the air bubbles in there from the filters, would you put this in your diesel? I think so. We're going to run a mix of half and half for now. 50% biodiesel and 50% diesel. And once I get the system dialed in, I'll run 100%. So that's the sample we put in the truck, and that's the wash sample at home, from home. So I've got some work to do on making this a little bit tidier and safer, but very happy with the first batch. Let me know in the comments below what you think and what I can improve. So again, thanks for checking in, guys, and we'll catch you in the next video. Take care.